Welcome to Checkride Chat. Join your hosts Jason Bowles and Wally Mulhern, both major airline captains and designated pilot examiners with a combined 60 years and 50,000 hours of flight time as they give their insight and words of wisdom to help you navigate your aviation career.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Checkride Chat. Again, my name is Wally.
And I'm Jason.
And today is the 19th.
It's the 19th of July.
What are you doing tomorrow? Or what are you doing on Tuesday?
Tomorrow I'm giving a check ride, and then on Tuesday, 7:20 flight up to Milwaukee to drive after that up to Oshkosh.
And we are heading up tomorrow. We're going to fly to Madison, Wisconsin and spend the night there and then drive in on Tuesday. What are you doing on Wednesday?
On Wednesday, I believe 11 a.m., Wally and I will be in the NAFI tent, and we'll be giving a Master Your Check Ride discussion board chat. We've got topics, but we're hoping it's really more audience participation, I'd say.
Yeah.
So come ask your questions. If you don't have questions, I'm sure when we start talking, we will spur questions or comments, and that's kind of the goal. We want it. I would say our goal on that is very interactive.
Absolutely, yeah. The more you talk or the more you ask, the better.
Yes, absolutely.
We do have some things in our mind of what we can talk about if nobody talks, but once the crowd gets going, we run out of time.
Wait, and that was gonna say, like, 45 minutes. It seems like a while, but man, does it go fast.
It does. So if you're there, come by the NAFI 10, 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and we've got some of these cool stickers for you. So come check it out. Come say hi to us. We'd love to meet you. But in the meantime, we had a viewer or a listener. What do we call them? Viewers? I guess if they watch, they're viewers.
A fan?
Okay. They listen to us, they watch us. Someone wrote in and asked about us to talk about being a multi-engine instructor.
A new one.
A new MEI, absolutely.
Words of wisdom for, I just got my MEI,
Now
do's, don't do's, now what to look out for, etc.
Right. I will say this, I got my MEI, I had probably been a CFI for maybe about a year and a half when I got my MEI. And the MEIs today are at a little bit of I don't want to say disadvantage, but I'm going to say we, back in the day, had an advantage. And that advantage being, the typical progression is to get a private, an instrument, commercial single engine, maybe somebody gets their CFI and then gets their multi-engine, or maybe they just go right into multi-engine.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, to get a commercial pilot certificate, you had to have 10 hours of complex time. The phrase technically advanced airplane, or TAA, did not exist.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got someone that came to fly our Duchess or our Seminole or whatever, Baron, and wanted to get a multi-engine airplane, they already had at a minimum 10 hours of complex time. So they were accustomed to playing with propeller
They
controls.
were proficient with a controllable pitch prop, a gear, moving a manifold, a blue, not just a throttle.
Right. Probably some more complex things like cowl flaps and that kind of stuff.
But another one thing about it was simply speed.
Yeah,
You're just operating faster.
Yeah. But in today's environment, you may, as a MEI, get a student coming in for their multi-engine, and they've never seen a blue control on a throttle console.
I'd say that's the higher percentage now.
It is. I'd agree. That's probably the
TAA. Tangent real quick. TAA, back in the day when Wally and I were young and in shape and good looking, back in the day, the only way typically to go fast was to throw gear.
Right.
That was your complex aircraft. That was your next level to get from point A to point B quickly. Well, with the advent, just generically speaking, of the Cirrus with the high-powered engines, you don't need to throw gear anymore.
Right.
And so it wasn't just the Cirrus could go fast, but it was all the glass. That entailed a whole new world of complex, let's use that loosely, just complex avionics.
Right.
But it was complex avionics with the speed, and so the FAA, in their wisdom, not many people really had complex aircraft anymore unless you went to twins.
Right.
So TA was created. So now for your commercial license, instead of just 10 hours of complex, it says 10 hours of complex or 10 hours of TA or any combination thereof. And I think what we're getting at is most schools, most pilots coming through, when they get to their multi, they only have the TAA.
That's exactly right. Even 15 years ago, you saw a lot of Piper Arrows.
I love the Arrow.
And you saw, not as many, but you saw a good number of Cessna 172 RGs.
Mm-hmm.
And you really, man, I haven't seen a 172 or a single-engine Cessna retractable.
It's
here.
only the 210s,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
You just don't see them anymore. So, it presents an issue that, again, that we didn't have to deal with, but you're going to have to teach your students about the whole complexity of manipulating propellers and that sort of stuff. Where again, we didn't have to deal with that. So, what are some other thoughts about? I would say this. Let's just use a nice round number. Let's say a multi-engine airplane rents for $360 an hour, which is probably on the low side. That's $6 a minute. $6 a minute. So the more instruction, and it's double-edged sword, because you as an instructor, you want to log the time, but you're trying to help out your student who doesn't have $40,000.
You don't want to go to, they don't want them to go bankrupt. I mean,
Right.
That's still your student.
Right. You can do a whole lot of instructing without the engines running. I remember sitting in a college class and the professor saying, for every hour you're in here, you need to be studying 2 hours outside of this class. I probably never did that. That's why my college GPA was where it was. But
2-0 and go, man.
I go to class for an hour and go study for that class for 2 hours. That probably didn't happen. But I would say in this application, maybe 2 hours sitting in the airplane for every hour that you have the engines running might be a huge money saver.
When I was heavy, and I still teach, right, for the MEI stuff, or just multi add-on for that matter. I had a packet, and that was one of the kind of, I guess you'd say, rules is you need to memorize the drill. You need to sit down and chair. There was a picture of the panel. Every maneuver was laid out so you could chair fly. You do not want to. That's much cheaper to study on your own.
Yes.
It's instead of some people argue, oh, I need the hands-on. I have to do it. Fine, then at least review and be exposed to it, but do not get into that airplane cold.
Right.
Because that is a very expensive way to learn.
Right. And I would venture to say that most flight schools would let you come out and sit in the airplane while starting it. I don't think anyone gonna have a problem with that.
So pre-study, know your maneuvers, know the plane, know the flows.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then back seating.
Yeah, I've done a handful of multi-engine training in the last few years, and in all the scenarios, I had 2 students at a time, and one person sat in the back seat while the other person was in the front, obviously in the front seat, and I was in the front seat too. It does a couple things. First of all, I would tell that person in the back seat that they are the safety pilot. So while there's a lot of talking going on up front, you have your EFB out, your iPad, have ForeFlight open, have traffic available, also have your eyes outside looking for traffic force. So you're kind of another safety pilot.
And no, you can't log that. Just throwing that one out there.
Right. But what I would do is on the first flight for each person, I would have the backseat person reading all the checklists.
Yeah.
The normal
Yeah.
checklists,
Engage.
all the non-normal checklists. So it does engage them, and it takes a little bit of a load off the flying pilot. Now the second flight, we would transition to the person up there in the left seat using the checklist. One thing I have unfortunately had to deal with multi-engine applicants on check rides is the applicant actually flying the airplane really well and doing the multi-engine stuff really well, but struggling with managing the avionics in the airplane, because it's multi-engine training is usually, it's not something that most people will drag out over 4 or 5 months. It's usually about a 2-week process, maybe even a 3 or 4 day process.
My accelerated program was, if it just happened to work out, it was 3 days of training, check ride day 4.
Yeah.
Or if weather or something happens, it's 4 days of training, but definitely check ride day 5. There's zero. It's about 8.5 to 9 training, setting aside about an hour to an hour and a half for the flight. Yeah. For the check ride flight.
Right. So what I have seen is people one flight school I work with has a beach travel air with a 530, a Garmin 530. One flight school I know of has a Beechcraft Duchess with a Garmin 750 in it. And it's possible that the applicant doesn't really know how to use that avionics.
100%. Two things on that. Let's swing off of that one. Number one, here's a plug for the FAA safety team, so for the FAST team. On that, if you're not, become a member. It's not even a member, it's just enroll, I guess, accept their emails. Create an account, not a member. Create an account for the FAST team. There are infinite CBTs on how to use, by experts, on how to use every piece of avionics known to man. Right. From a G5 to a 275 to a 750, 650, 430, 530. That's just Garmin. Switch over to anything Avidyne. Switch over to the Aspen. Switch over to the Dynon. Everything is on that FAST Team website. So if you're diligent, go look it up and learn those avionics. Right. Moreover, Garmin has, I know for a fact you can download like a 430 app or a 430 program. Yeah. The good thing about Garmin's a Garmin. So the base original Garmin was the 430. Every Garmin since then, even up to the G1, the functionality is the same. Simply it may have more functions, but the buttons are just in a different spot. But how to load and approach, it's still, you're looking for proc, right? You're looking for procedure.
I can't tell you how many times I've said direct enter.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So on that, if you ever have taken a check ride with me, one of the proficiency versus currency. You're legal to go fly that 172. But you're flying a 172 with a 6-pack. Right. You're legal to go fly that 172 with a G1000. Would you? No. They're going to say, well, I'm not proficient. I actually think proficiency, this might not offend people. This might rub people the wrong way. In today's world, checklists, you're going to figure out how to fly a plane. I think avionics are the biggest proficiency challenge that there is now. If you have never seen a particular set of avionics, you will need to go get trained on that or research that. You can't just jump into a G1000 never having figured it out. Yeah. Let's go fly. It's not going to happen. Yeah. You need to do a little bit of study. Here's a proficiency example for this. It's a dumb one, but it works. When we redid the panel in our 172, we put in a Garmin 375, which is a transponder WASP GPS. No comm, it was just that. Yeah. So we're coming back into Conroe, and I have another flight instructor with me, and we're all happy on all this cool, shiny stuff that's new and colors. We're coming into Conroe, and the tower says, squawk 1, 2, 3, 4. And I go, transponder 1, 2, 3, 4. Flying along. About 15 seconds later, Cessna, blah, 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 squawk 1, 2, 3, 4. And we look at each other. I'm like, did you not squawk or transport, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4? And we just look at you, we just keep going away. And then Tower, and I know you know who I'm talking about, gets on the horn. Cessna 45 Lima, squawk 1, 2, 3, 4, or get out of the Delta airspace.
Oh God.
And we're like, what are we doing wrong? I go transponder, click, and it's all touchscreen. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're staring, and I'm like, oh my God. Enter.
Okay.
It's, you know what I mean? That is the best example I can give. And it's silly, but it's proficient. We had no idea.
Yeah.
We had every transponder I've ever functioned is just type it in or roll the numbers.
That's funny.
So, but that's proficiency. So yeah, if you're jumping into a new aircraft, especially the multi, do yourself a favor and learn the avionics. When you hop in any aircraft for any check ride, you are completely liable on how everything works.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're going to go, 100 miles away to Joe's flight school and get your multi in their Seminole, when you're calling them up, coordinating all this, say, hey, tell me what kind of avionics we have in the Seminole.
Absolutely.
And, you can
look it up.
Yeah. All right. So what else? Let's talk about the big one. How about the teaching a VMC demo?
Okay. All right. Here's my rant. A VMC demo. Okay. VMC, we all know what it is. It's the I guess the lower red line, the lower speed red line. That's how you can find it on an airspeed indicator. We all know the definition. But the maneuver that you're doing, you just said it's a VMC demo. What does demo is short for? Demonstration. You are demonstrating you can recognize VMC. At no point ever should you actually VMC that aircraft.
Exactly.
Period. And that is, a lot of this is the setup.
Yeah.
A lot. So I almost think we should make a video of quote unquote the perfect VMC demo, and we can maybe upload it, because I can go borrow a twin, and I think that might be cool. But it is a demonstration. So big picture, you're going to slow down, right? You're going to get to a halfway decent speed. Mixture's going to be full, props are going to be full, flaps up, gear up. And you're going to bring your left engine to critical engine windmilling. So you're going to slowly bring that back. Keep in mind, you're about to do that to yourself. So don't just kill it and then hit the rudder. Pull the power back on the left engine whilst adding rudder to maintain directional control. The next one is max thrust or max power operating engine. Slowly go to max. By the time you probably go critical engine windmilling and max power operating engine, I bet you're at about the 95 to 100 knots if you do it kind of right.
Right.
Then you're going to maintain directional control, and you are going to pull up. Here's the big takeaway. You're going to pull up at what's the rate?
1 knot per second.
Not 1 degree per second.
Yes.
1 knot per second. So you're going to maintain directional control and slowly pull back 1 knot per second. Wally and I have discussed this previously, and this is, as an instructor, whatever you do, that is absolutely your call. But I would advise your student, when they get to the check ride, be ready for either. What I'm getting at is, Wally, do you block the rudder?
I do block the rudder.
I don't. There's nothing to say we have to. There's nothing to say we don't have to. So Wally will block the rudder at a higher airspeed, basically to initiate that VMC roll. So if Wally blocks the rudder and you continue to pitch up at one knot per second, you're going to start to roll off.
Yeah.
That is recognizing VMC. You can no longer control direction.
Yeah.
You are now VMCing off. So the recovery is what is making you VMC. It's the opposite engine. It's the max power operating engine. So pull that thrust off, pull that power off, pitch back over to your blue line, and slowly increase your power again. VMC, for the most part, is you fixated.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Would you agree? Like, for the most, that's it, with anything instrument-wise, especially. You simply fixated on something.
Yeah.
You nailed that altitude, but your speed is just petering off, right?
And we do not want to get into a spin in a multi-engine
Oh,
airplane.
goodness gracious, no.
It's don't think it's like your 172, just opposite rudder and lower the nose. This could be a whole nother episode. There are lots of factors to why.
Is the Duchess certified to spin? Isn't that like the only twin? Maybe not certified. They spun it though. I know there's YouTube videos on it. I think in the certified. Anyway, that's another thing. BE-76 Duchess. Go look up spinning that because I know it's online. Yeah. We don't want to do that. I'm not about to. I don't want to do that.
There is a video that Blanco Lirio has out there of live ATC of an airplane, and it's a travel air, getting in a spin, and the guy, the instructor, is calling Mayday, Mayday, Mayday over ATC, and they crashed and they died.
On that note, I'll come right back to that. So Wally blocks the rudder. I don't. So I expect you at about probably blue line, maybe slightly above blue line. So Seminole blue line's 88, Duchess blue line's 85. At about that blue line, I expect you to no longer input rudder, but yet keep pulling up. And the same thing is going to happen. If you no longer input rudder, you're going to start rolling off. So I expect you to do that.
Right.
So teach it maybe both ways on that.
Yeah.
But I cannot stress it enough. A VMC demo is very simply, you are demonstrating, you are recognizing, I can no longer maintain direction control. Do not get anywhere near the actual VMC speed.
Right.
We're not playing that game. Where do you have to do a VMC demo? So per the feds, any multi-engine training has to be accomplished above
3,000.
$3,000, above 3,000 feet.
AGL.
Unless superseded or unless your POH says otherwise. So twin Cessnas, 3,000 is it. Piper is 4,000 feet. Beechcraft, at least in the Duchess, says, and I don't know about the Travel Air or anything else for that matter, the Baron, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Beechcraft Duchess says you have to complete it above 5,000 feet. So most people will take plus 500 on top of that. So Piper stuff, you're doing all your stuff at 4,500 feet or higher. And then the Duchess is 5,500 feet or higher. So that is, multi is 3,000 unless others specified. The Seminole is $4,000 and then the Duchess is $5,000. So keep that in the back of your head too. But we do not want to VMC anything.
Now, you said something earlier, you were talking about the VMC demo, you mentioned the flaps, you said flaps up. It's most of the time right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Flaps in the takeoff position.
So that's a great point, and I was thinking of the Duchess and for the Seminole for that matter, because that's what it is. The correct terminology when you are going through how did they come up with VMC? Most acronyms what people use, I've heard SMACFUM, that's I think the common one. Then there's a combat something. Have you seen that one?
No.
There's another one, I don't know what it is. It yields the same result. It's I want to say maybe it's just combats. I've heard that a handful of times, but they explain and it's the same thing. It's just different letters.
Me coming up, I've got limited brain power, and it was harder for me to memorize all the acronyms.
Well, that's the whole purpose of acronyms.
But I just memorized the conditions.
Or that works too.
Yeah.
So, okay. So yes, VMC, it is actually, a lot of people, just because they'll pick on the aircraft, this isn't a type rating, we're not doing aircraft stuff, we're talking about multi-engine stuff. So VMC, how did they come up with that? The correct terminology is flaps in the takeoff position, right, gear up. So that's why I just said flaps up, gear up, right? Because that's just, it is what it is. But anyway, but that's that. So be able to explain that when you're discussing VMC and performance are two very different things. So that it's a hard thing initially to comprehend, but when you're talking about VMC, you are specifically talking about VMC. Just because it affects performance in the opposite direction, that does not necessarily mean it affects VMC in the way you want it to. So those are two split. What else?
I think a good multi-engine instructor is going to spend a lot of time in the performance section of the POH. You know, there's this, I think the general public would think you're in an airplane that has two engines, you lose one of them, you're going to lose half your performance, but that's not the case. You lose about 90% of your performance.
You'll lose half your power,
yeah,
but you're going to lose, I would say, 75 to 90% of your performance.
Yeah.
So let me piggyback on that real quick. You have two engines, you're invincible, right? Oh, if I lose one, yeah, no. So new MEIs or just any MEI in general, go play. Like, we're down in Houston, we're basically sea level. Yes, it's hot, but we're pretty much sea level. We're always going to have a positive climb, right? So I'll have them calculate same weight and balance. Don't redo your weight and balance, but all right, go up to Denver.
Yeah.
Calculate that. And so we might have a single engine rate of climb down here at 500, 600, 700 feet a minute. You'll go to Denver and it's less than 50. It's 10, 20, 30, if that.
Yeah.
And that's just taking off.
Yeah.
That's just taking off. Meaning if you bite an engine at rotate speed and you decide to go, you're not really, and that's if you do everything perfect.
Right.
My point is, you're not climbing.
Yeah.
So where do we have to do maneuvers? I just did a ride in Denver the other day. We were up at 11,000 feet doing our multi stuff because of how the Bravo fell. And so we had to go out and up, and we couldn't really, anyway, it is what it is, but we had to go so high. When I failed his engine, he did his drill, right? We're doing everything right, and it's 88, for the Seminole. And this is a reality check, and it's not to be morbid. You do everything right, you are still going to crash.
Yeah.
I mean, you're blue line, directional control, blue line, blue line, blue line, and you are still dropping at 500, 600 feet a minute.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Just because you have two engines doesn't fix the problem that you have lost an engine.
Right.
So that is a conversation that you guys absolutely need to have and come to realize it is not a catch-all because you have a different or another engine.
And just statistically speaking, if you have two engines, you're twice more likely, I don't know if that's a proper sentence, twice as likely to have an engine failure.
Yeah.
So
engines, aircraft, everything, it's all mechanical.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, stuff fails.
Yeah.
Nothing's indestructible.
Right.
So I have my little phrase when we're telling you all of this just to maybe hopefully open your eyes if you've never thought about it. But multis need to be respected but not feared. Like, you can't not go fly a twin because you think you're going to lose an engine. What you need to be thinking of is just, how can if I do lose an engine, I'm still safe, I'm still good.
Yeah.
So this can circle back to, do you need to go out with full tanks?
Right.
Where are you going?
Right.
How far is this? I mean, if you have to do it, fine, but be ready for it. I had a buddy with a 421. Well, he was flying it, wasn't his, but he was flying it, and he called me. He was like, hey, we're going, I think it was Pagosa Springs, and they were going to Hooks. He's like, I ran the numbers. I can take off, and they were big old boys, right? So there's 4 of them. They're all probably like a solid 250. So I can take off. I got the runway, and I think Pagosa is like 7,000 feet, maybe 8. It's way up there. And I said, no names. I said, that's really not the number you need to be looking at. I don't care that you can take off. I said, why don't you run your single engine climb rate? And if you look at a map at Pagosa, you're in a mountain valley. There's no way out. You have to literally fly to like Santa Fe before you can kind of crack a left to get out of elevation in mountainous terrain. And he ran, this is a 421. This is a super high performance twin. And his climb rate was something like 120 feet a minute. And I'm like, dude, just from flying a 421, I don't care where you lose your engine, you're not moving.
Right.
So it might say 150 feet a minute, you won't do it. So you're going to be shooting your pattern at whatever altitude you lose at. So I said, going in my mind, I was like, where Pagosa? I was like, how far is it? I said, Amarillo or Lubbock, because they're coming this way. He's like, it's about 45 minutes. I was like, how much gas do you have? He said, an hour and a half. I'm like, run your numbers with your current weight right now. And he came back and it was something like 600 and 700 foot per minute climb. And I said, I think you should maybe just hop to Amarillo or Lubbock, then top off or get more gas,
Yeah.
and keep trucking. That is just the smarter move.
Right.
Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Right.
That's kind of how I look at it. So I'm like, you're leaving early in the morning, just fine, take off, go drop in, have them go to the bathroom, get another cup of coffee, and launch.
Yeah.
It'll add 25 minutes to your trip. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what they ended up doing. But those are the conversations that take place in a check ride, because a lot of the times nobody's ever thought about other than 50 miles in their local airport.
Yeah.
And that's what the certificate, any certificate, enables you to do. Your private pilot certificate does not allow you to only fly in Conroe. You can go anywhere in the world for that matter.
Yeah.
Right? So it's things to look at and think about.
Yeah, I think what you said is it needs to be respected and not feared. I mean, it might be, I'll use the example of a machete. You're going camping and you got a machete in the back of your car or whatever to kind of do whatever you need to do when you get to the campsite. I mean, that machete may cut your arm off.
Oh yeah,
you know,
do it wrong.
so you respect it, but you don't fear it.
Yeah.
So, and the airplane is a tool. So, I mean, me personally, I'll take 2 engines any day.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
because
that's the goal.
2 minus 1 is still 1. At least maybe I'm not coming down as fast. 1 minus 1 is 0, and I know I'm coming down. So anyway, but
I would say so we've talked about VMC, just things to maybe consider. I would say the biggest words of wisdom, teaching, either you doing it or teaching like a new student, is, I can't stress it enough, when something bad happens, and it will, because we're failing your engines constantly, and you're producing all this stuff. It's not one word, it's 2 words. It's slow down.
yeah,
Your immediate response is maintain directional control. After that, to quote United, take a tactical breath.
yeah,
I'm not saying be a snail, don't take a minute to figure out what is going on.
yeah,
What I am saying is directional control, that is your only immediate reaction. After that, take a second, take 2 seconds,
yeah,
process what just happened, and then react. Do not simply just shoot from the hip.
yeah,
That more often than not will bite you.
yeah. And where we see it on multi-engine airplanes is the applicant shutting down or wanting to feather the operative engine.
No.
So we've just failed the right engine and they reach up and they feather the left engine. I've had it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times on check rides, and the result usually it's not favorable.
You won't do it on your commercial, you won't do it on your multi-engine check ride, your add-on. You do it on your MEI, but it's the drag demo. So as an MEI, I would demonstrate, that's the drag demo. I would do a drag demonstration to solidify and to prove when you go through the drill. So yes, it's the Seminole, the Duchess, that's what I give the most rides on. So the drill is mixtures, so direction control, mixtures, props, throttles, flaps up, gear up, identify dead foot, dead engine, verify. So if it's your left, you're going to pull the left throttle back, right? Then you're going to go feather or fix the left prop, and then cut off. So feather or fix, if you're going to feather, you just feather it. If you're going to fix it, you're going to leave it alone and then try to troubleshoot. But you're ending up going to feather because we need to shut it down. And then you pull the left mixture to cut off. But the takeaway is, I've seen it not more than, I'd say, a quarter of the time. We'll fail an engine and they will go mixtures, props, throttles, flaps, gear, and they'll just stop.
Yeah.
So they're doing everything right. They're direction control, they're a blue line, but they went one direction but did not finish it. And I think that goes back to, if you demonstrate, if you do that drag demonstration to them, it'll prove you have to finish the drill.
Yeah.
Because you are going to simply fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
And until you finish the drill, we will not give you simulated feather.
Right.
Which is whatever manifold pressure the POH states.
Yeah.
So depending on the plane.
In that drill, I mean, at first you're adding thrust, and then you're eliminating drag.
Yeah.
So the first three things with all the power levers is okay, let's get max power on the airplane. Let's get rid of the drag, the flaps up, the gear up, then the feather. That's the big one, is that big prop out there. It's like you got a disc out there that is just stopping you.
And
so you want to feather it.
The guys and girls that kind of do the halfway, mixed prop throttle, flaps, gear, and their blue line, they are dropping.
Yes.
Like out of the sky. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
The second you feather it, and we give you simulated feather, your negative X whatever becomes a positive, especially on the single engine approach.
Right.
So there is a huge purpose to that. So that is, again, slow down, take that breath, figure out, process it, and then react. Just don't shoot from the hip. Nothing in an airplane besides maybe direction control needs to happen that fast.
Yeah. I think most of us as kids have sat in a car and put the window down and put our arms outside, and you hold your hand like that, and you just feel this incredible force on your hand, and then you put your hand like that.
It's nothing.
And
That's the prop.
You're feathering. You've done this before. You probably have done this.
So I think those are all good words of wisdom. Just big picture. VMC demo, a lot of people do that wrong. So we're hoping what we said helps. Slow down, respect it, don't fear it. One thing maybe for the more seasoned MEIs, or instructors in general, actually, it's any pilot, complacency is not where you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it will happen to you, but you cannot have the mindset that it will not happen to you. You are, this sounds really bad, you're not that good. Nor am I, and nor is Wally. You are on guard. Why do you think we get trained on failures and procedures all the time? We're basically waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
And do not become complacent. The second you think it's not going to happen, that's that Murphy's Law. Oh, you bet your backside it probably something will come back and bite you. Something will come and say hi.
Yeah. All right. I think we beat that horse to death.
Yeah. So if that's whoever wrote in on that one, thank you. That was an awesome question. If you want some more specifics, let us know. Like we said, we are heading up to Oshkosh. Wally's going tomorrow. I'm heading up Tuesday morning. We're at the NAFI tent Wednesday at 11. Feel free, come say hey. I'd love to meet you. I know Wally would.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just give us not a couple days, give us a little bit, but maybe we can work on trying to do, not a drag demo. Maybe we can just try to do the VMC thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a really good way to do it, because I'm getting frustrated that it's always the same, and it's and I don't think it's the instructor's fault. It's just I don't think it was maybe taught overly correct.
You know, we do have access to airplanes. You have access to a twin. You got access to a couple of single engine 172 type airplanes, Pipers. I've got access to a tail dragger.
Cool.
And a nice turbocharged single engine airplane. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe we figure out how to mount cameras, and we go out and we demo some things.
Here's something. We'll look into this. We'll try to do it, because that's a great lateral. Your Saratoga, right? Or my Archer. How you do a power off 180 in a Saratoga
oh god,
is going to be night and day than an Archer.
Oh yeah.
So does that make sense? I mean, the Archer, the 172, you can go out, you can glide, you can this, you got all the time in the world.
I was gonna say,
my gosh, you lose an
Saratoga.
engine in the Saratoga.
If you haven't turned by now, you're in trouble.
Yeah, engine in a Saratoga, I would say even in an Aero, a 182, a 206, a 210, you lose an engine, beam the numbers, midfield down, you better be cranking to that airport.
Yeah.
Because you are an elevator at that point, and you are going vertically down.
Yeah.
There is no glide.
No.
So that might be interesting also, just to show you've got. I did that a long time ago for he was going for a commercial. I was training him. We were up in Huntsville, and I did I was like, all right, give me a power off 180, and he went and did it, and I was like, you're never gonna make it. And it was perfect. And he's like, what do you mean I wasn't? I was like, I would have done it totally differently. Why? I had the heavier equipment experience, but he was like, well, show me. So I just got put on the spot, right? But I did it totally different. I cranked it straight to the airport, and I slipped it.
Yeah.
And it worked out. It was the same thing. It was two very different approaches.
Right.
But it yielded the same thing. But I was flying the 206 a lot, and you lose an engine in something like that, you need to go to an airport immediately.
Yeah.
So food for thought. But what else? I guess that's it. So that's a little tangent at the end.
All right. So come see us at Oshkosh, and other than that, if you're not going to Oshkosh, we'll see you next time.
Cool. See y'all.
Bye.